Hey guys, it's me King Diablo, and in today's video I'll give you a full skill review for the new Guardian class. This is the first skill for Guardian class. This skill does turn on successful hit and it has two flows. The first one increases your attack power and the second one is an additional attack flow. This additional attack flow does 150% skill damage of the skill on each hit. So the base skill will do 5 attacks if you keep the skill icon pressed, but if you have 60 mana points, then it will consume the 60 mana points and change it to 2 attack hits, and these 2 attacks will do 6 hits. Also, when you consume 60 mana points, it increases the maximum number of enemies you can hit by 1. This skill has 1 charge and it's a short range skill. It's a good skill to use in PvE farming. This is the second skill for Guardian class. This skill does daze on hit and has super armor, but it's not applied in arena. This skill has 2 charges and it's a medium range skill. This skill has 2 flows. The first one increases your attack power and the second one decreases enemy movement speed. It's a really good skill to use in both PvE and PvP. This is the third skill for Guardian class. This skill does bound on successful hit and has super armor, but it's not applied in arena. This skill has 2 charges. This skill is somewhere in between close range and mid range skill. This skill has a flow that reduces enemy defense. This skill can be used in both PvE and PvP. It has a big area of effect too. This is the fourth skill for Guardian class. This skill does knockdown on successful hit, has super armor but it's not applied in arena, and has 1 charge. This skill has 2 flows. The first one inflicts bleed on enemy and the second one is an additional attack flow. This additional attack flow can be used by keeping the skill icon pressed. This additional attack flow does same damage as the skill. It has super armor but it's not applied in arena, and it does knock down on successful hit. So this one is a close range skill, but it has a big area of effect. So this skill can be used in both PvE and PvP. This is the fifth skill for Guardian class. This skill does stun on successful hit and does forward guard and rear super armor, but the rear super armor does not apply in arena. This skill has 1 charge. This skill has 3 flows. The first one increases your defense, the second one reduces enemy movement speed, and the third one lets you switch the forward guard of the skill to super armor. So this is the dash skill for this class, but this skill does not let you run through your enemies. It will get stuck once you hit an enemy. This is a really good skill to use in both arena and mass PvP. This is the 6th skill for Guardian class. This skill does bound on successful hit and does super armor while using the skill and invincibility while jumping, but both of this does not work in arena. This skill has 3 charges. This skill has 3 flows. The first one decreases your defense, the second one increases the number of charges this skill has, and the third one is an additional attack flow. So when this additional attack flow is turned on, it basically lets you throw your shield before jumping on your enemies. So the shield throw does 50% skill damage of this skill, has super armor but it's not applied in arena, and does knockback on successful hit. So this is a long range skill, and even the jump range on this skill is really high. This skill can be used in both PvE and PvP. This is the 7th skill for Guardian class. This is a grab skill. This skill has super armor before the grab animation starts and invincibility while the grab animation is going on. This skill has 1 charge and does bound when you successfully grab on your enemies. So this skill has 2 flows. The first one reduces enemy defense and the second one reduces enemy attack speed. So this grab skill does a little run animation before you grab your enemies, and the run distance is basically same as the run distance for Titan class grab. This is the 8th skill for Titan class. This skill does turn on first hit and knock up on last hit. This skill has super armor but is not applied in arena, and it has 1 charge. This skill consumes 60 mana points to do a jump that is medium ranged in your desired direction. During the jump animation you will have invincibility, but it's not applied in arena. This skill has 3 flows. The first one increases your defense, the second one reduces enemy attack speed, and the third one is an additional attack flow. So this additional attack flow lets you slam your axe on the ground to create an area of effect attack. This attack does same damage as the skill on each hit and has super armor but is not applied in arena. So without consuming the mana point, this is a melee range skill with a big AoE, but when you consume the 60 mana point, it becomes a medium range skill with a big AoE. This is a really good skill for PvP and for boss rushes. You can use this skill to run away from your opponents in arena PvP. This skill has 1 charge. This is the 9th skill for Guardian class. This skill does bound on last hit and has super armor and grab immunity. Also, you get 10% PvP damage reduction from other players for 12 seconds after using this skill. This skill has two flows. The first one increases your defense, the second one reduces the cooldown time for the skill. This is a long range skill and is a good skill for PvP. This skill has one charge. This is the 10th skill for Guardian class. This skill does knockback on first and third attack hit of the skill. This skill has three flows. The first one increases the attack range of the skill, the second one increases the number of hits of the skill, and the third one decreases the critical hit chance for your opponent. This skill has two charges. This is a long range skill and can be used for PvE. This is the 11th skill for Guardian class. This is a buff skill. This skill has two flows. The first one increases your critical hit damage and the second one increases your black spirit skill damage. This is the basic attack skill for Guardian class. This is the passive skill for Guardian class. So firstly, when you use any skill, it increases your critical hit rate by 1% for 10 seconds and it stacks up to 5 times, so you get a total of 5% critical hit chance increase. Similarly, when you use any skill, you also get a critical hit damage increase of 7% for 10 seconds and this one also stacks up to 5 times. So you get a total of 35% critical damage increase. Also, when you use the second, 4th, 8th and 10th skill for Guardian class, all of them increases your health point by 400 points. There is no cooldown for this health recovery effect, so you can keep spamming these 4 skills and recover 400 health point each time. And if you turn on the flow for the passive skill effect, it lets you switch this health recovery effect into 10% damage to monster effect. Also, when you are using any skill for Guardian class, it gives you one Earth Energy Orb. You can have a total of 5 Earth Energy Orbs. So when you have collected all the 5 orbs, you can use the first, second, third, sixth or the 9th skill for Guardian class to consume all those 5 orbs and create an area of effect around the area where you hit using those skills. This area of effect will deal 440% skill damage per second for 4 seconds to your opponent. So basically I have been testing this class for a while now in both PvP and PvE and I have noticed this so far. This class has really slow skill animations for all the skills and also the damage of this class is really very much low. Even if you are performing proper combos all the time, you will still deal really low damage for this class. Now let's see the Black Spirit skills for Guardian class. Now let's see the dodge animations for Guardian class. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. I'll see you in the next video.